Hey guys, what is up? Today I just want to have a little bit of a chat about Sony. I'm sorry if this is a rant. If you don't like rants, just stop watching now. But I love Sony. I really want them to be successful. I love their cameras. I've been using them for years. I plan on using them for years. But there's one thing that really irks me right now, and it's a recent trend that I'm seeing with Sony. In the past on Sony cameras, they've had something called the PlayMemories apps. Those were apps that were installed in the camera within the operating system. They actually were based upon Android, and there was a group of developers that figured out a way to hack that, and they made something called the Open Memories apps, where it was user-developed apps. And I thought that was pretty cool that you could develop your own app and throw it on your camera and use it. I've played around with it a bit. Some of you may remember from other videos that I'm actually a software engineer, and so I coded up an app and threw it on my camera, played around with it. I thought that was really cool. I didn't do anything super special, but I found it very beneficial to use apps that were created by others, especially time-lapse apps. I know that many of you that are watching this have probably used those time-lapse apps. In recent months, Sony has gotten rid of all their PlayMemories apps on their new cameras, on the Sony A9, the A7R III, and the soon-to-be-released A7 III. They do not have the PlayMemories apps. You do have remote function over your camera's abilities from their smartphone app, but that is it. I actually pre-ordered my A7 III just this week, and I emailed Sony because I'm concerned about time-lapse app. And I expressed my concern. I said, hey, I'm a software engineer. If there's any way to open source this code or make it available, any way to just provide the ability for us as users to create a time-lapse app in camera, let me know. And Sony responded, and their response really disappointed me. I'm just going to read it for you. So let's hurry and swap to the computer. Okay, so here is what Sony says. Thank you for contacting the Sony Digital Imaging and Alpha Email Response Team. First off, that's a really long name. They should think about shortening that up. Then they say, I understand that you would like to know if Sony will consider open sourcing the code and creating apps for API existed. I'm just going to give them a pass on their English, but they more or less understood what my request was. Anyways, I'll be more than happy to assist you with your inquiry. We are appreciated your support and interest with our Sony product. I am happy to respond about your concern, and I strongly recommend you to check with this website below. And they link to a website that looks promising, right? It's this developer.sony.com/develop/cameras. So you'd think, hey, awesome, development for cameras. And that is what it is, but it sort of isn't. All it is a remote API, aka an API that you can use from your phone to wirelessly connect with the camera. And that's great. I am glad that they at least provide that functionality. But if you actually dig into the API and the SDK that they provide for download, it provides the identical feature set of what they already provide in their remote control app. You can change the ISO, the shutter speed, and whatnot, but you can't do time-lapse, you can't do multiple exposures, things like that used to be available in their PlayMemories apps. None of that is available through their camera remote API. I am super, super disappointed that Sony just has that canned response that says, hey, go check out this API. See, we already do it. Because they don't. And that's so frustrating to me. So if anyone from Sony ever watches this video, please, please, please allow us to put apps on the camera. It's nice that we can do it from our phone, but I don't want to have to use my phone every time I want to do a time lapse. I want to be able to do it in camera. This is really frustrating that they're removing it from their newer cameras because there's no real reason to do so. So, if you made it this far, thanks for listening to my rant. I'm sure some of you share similar feelings as me. Hopefully, we can have our voices heard at Sony, and Sony will update firmware, update the operating system to allow these on-camera apps. But until that day, I guess we'll just have to make do with what we can. Intervalometers, using the camera app on our phones, and whatnot. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.